Thank you. Yes, I'm representing SATSA project, which is a Swedish local project from the town of Örebro. And SATSA is about how to employ clients with Asperger Syndrome, an adjusted working model. And my profession is, I am an occupational therapist, but in this project I am employed as a work advisor. And the reason for starting this project was that the target group is growing and the cooperation of authorities was not optimized. And also in Sweden we have these special classes in school, but after school there is no one to can continue this, and when these persons have tried to get into the labor market, they are not so succeeded and often failed. They often stay in inactivity or in the daycare center. And SATSA was started in the fall of 2008 and was supposed to continue for 3 years. But I can tell you now that the authorities have now decided that the project is so important and successful for the target group. So we have plans for continued SATSA in a private company. And we are now 4 persons employed in the project. And the project is financed by the Swedish government. And you can see it's a cooperation between these 4 authorities. And the purpose is that SATSA is about developing a working model for people with Asperger syndrome and high-functioning autism that will increase their chances to join the job market. That's the purpose. And the objectives are to increase the possibility for the target group to find, get, and keep a job, and to prepare the participant to become a part of the job market, and also to stimulate employers to recruit and employ from the target group, and to coordinate efforts early in order to achieve continuity. And this implement factor I have already told you about. And the reference that we have in the project, we have this executive group who leads the project, and it is chiefs from these 4 authorities in the executive group. And the research group, there is handling officers from these 4 authorities, and we meet them once a month. And we have connected specialists in different areas to the project, and there is one person with Asperger syndrome herself, and we have a psychologist with a special knowledge about the target group, which we meet once a month. And we also have this specialist in networking in the business world connected to the project. And we have contact with the researcher in the field of supported employment and also in the field of cooperation. And the strategies and methods we have used during the way is that we have watched the world around and look for other experience from other activities. We have done research in the area about the labor market, workability, the target group, and about cooperation. And we also have the knowledge about the target group, and we use a pedagogic way to work with these people. We use visualization, communication, and social stories. And we have influence about supported employment method. And we have this cooperation with the local companies around Örebro, and we have this cooperation with the university and school. And now I'm going to tell you about the SATSA working process. It is based on 3 steps. And in the first steps, we do this individual mapping of the participants' abilities and try to find the strengths, the weakness, and interest and need of support. And when we are finished with the step 1, we go further to step 2, or the second step. And there we try to find a workplace And when we have found that, we go further to the third step. And there is the introduction to the workplace and long-term follow-up. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit more detail about these steps. In step 1, the first 3 meetings are quite short meetings with short information about SATSA and a review of the working process. And also we get clear of the maintenance and insurance question. And after these 3 first meetings, and we go further to meeting 4 and 5, and there we start the mapping and assessment part. And we start with this conversation pattern. It's a mapping of earlier experiences, expectations and goals, and the social network around the person. And now we have recently started to use this SWI. It's a Norwegian assessment instrument, and we have translated it to Swedish. And it's a systematic survey of central problems in work for people with AS. And it's 142 factors which show the person's ability or inability and make the matching to the right workplace easier. And when we didn't have this SWI, we always did use these 2 assessment instruments about workability, DOA and VRI. Now when we have SWI, we can choose which instrument we think is most proper for each individual. And we have this weekday support assessment instrument. There you could find possible needs of support in the areas of work, relations, transport, hygiene, and sleep. And the meeting 6, we do a summary of meeting 4 and 5 to clear the strengths and weakness and need of support if we have got the right picture of the person. The meet 7, we do an activity outside SATSA. And the purpose of that is mapping an assessment outside SATSA to see how the person reacts in another environment. And I can say that we usually often goes to a cafe or take a walk in the environment. And the meet 8, the person fill in this form and do this follow-up how he thought it was in the meet of the activity outside. And we do this test of work area, the meeting 8, and prepare for CV and personal letter, which we do in the meeting of 9. And meeting 10, we plan for a visit to a cooperation company. We help the person to write questions that he could tell the company. And the purpose is a practical preparation for a visit to a real company and meet a real employer. Meet 11, we do this visit to the cooperation company. And the meet 12 is the last one in the step 1 process. There we make this review and summary of the whole working process and summarize the strengths, difficulties, and need of support. And we get clear of the matching to the right work area. We also give feedback to the handling officer who initiate the person to SATSA. And then we go further to step 2. That's I, as a work advisor, take contact to the company in the matching area, try to find a work and employment for the person. And I visit companies and do the workplace analysis. And this picture will show our role in SATSA with companies. We have these clients with the competence, research, and motivation to work, and we have the company who need this labor with competence, research, and motivation. And we in SATSA, we are in the middle and have the knowledge about the target group and the special knowledge about the client. We can identify the difficulties and bridge hindrance, and also take necessary context for the person. The step 3, we do a little bit more deeper workplace analysis on the workplace that we have found. We make a practice agreement with the employer, yes. And we get clear of the need of support for the client. We try to find a co-worker for the client at the workplace. And we give information to the workplace about the client's difficulties and need of support. We can be with the client in the introduction phase if he or she wants it. And the last thing is very important. We give the long-term support and follow-up. We think it's really important. And we have seen some important factors that we think is important to mention. And it's about one's insight about one's difficulties. And if we are allowed to give information to the co-worker and other colleagues, we think it's important. And also to start off simple and add on more tasks so you don't start too difficult in the workplace. And other external difficulties must be solved. Okay, I think you know this already, but I can mention it. The need of support at work, for example, can be a schedule or checklist, structure and routines, one co-worker, adjusted working hours or adjusted working tasks, and regular conversations and follow-ups. And the results so far in the project is that we now have 25 clients in different phases of the process. 8 is in the mapping process, 4 is waiting for practice, 9 have practice at a company, and 5 are employed with support from SATSA. And we have 28 clients on the waiting list. And the success factors, as we have seen so far, is that SATSA is an adjusted working model for this target group. And there is one work advisor during the whole process. And we have the knowledge about people with Asperger syndrome. And we do this fundamental mapping, which give a good matching. And we also give a long and individual follow-up. And we have this network with companies and active participation in the business world. And we also have this cooperation with the authorities. Okay, thank you so much. And this is the mail address. And I have some folders. I have some folders here in the front if you are interested. Okay?
Thanks very much, Anna.